Good evening and welcome to yet another installment of the Coach's Corner. We're at the Tivoli Tap House with great food and great beer. Joining me is Miriam Aramburo for the first time ever on the show. How about that soccer game yesterday?
Oh, it was amazing. So many missed opportunities, but in the end we still came out with the win.
So Miriam, who are we featuring on today's show?
Well, we'll first bring out head volleyball coach Jenny Glenn to talk to us about her road trip through the Western Slope. We'll also get into some women's soccer with head coach Tracy Chao. They're off to an incredible start in conference play. And we'll go back to volleyball and get to know senior All-American Santaisha Sturges, who eclipsed a pretty cool mark not too long ago.
Well, Miriam, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty great show, but before we bring on Coach Jenny Glenn, let's first recap everything that happened this past weekend in Roadrunner sports. Coach Chao and her women's soccer team are rolling so far in this 2018 season. They added 2 more wins to their win total after defeating Colorado Mesa on Friday and Western State on Sunday. 5 different Roadrunners scored this weekend, and with Erica Torres in net, they didn't yield a single goal in 180 minutes of action. So now the squad sits at 6-1-1 overall and 4-0 in the RMAC.
The men's soccer team hit the road this past weekend and battled with 17th ranked Colorado Mesa, but it was the Mavericks who found the back of the net in this thriller. It was the only goal in the 1-0 win for Mesa as Metro goalkeeper James Tanner made 4 saves to try and keep it close. The Roadrunners are now 2-2 in the RMAC and will continue their road trip this weekend.
The volleyball team also had a couple road games and took down the Mountaineers from Western State in a 3-0 sweep on Friday. Lyric A-Bear recorded 17 digs in the 3 sets, while 8 different Roadrunners registered kills to improve to 4-1 in the RMAC. Coach Glenn's squad couldn't make it back-to-back wins, falling to Colorado Mesa and Grand Junction the next night. MSU Denver will be back at the Auraria Event Center this weekend to continue conference play.
And finally, we'll recap the golf team's last outing in Grand Junction. Jennifer Hankins led the way, finishing with a 13 over par, earning a total score of 155 on the 2-day event. The squad would finish 14th overall and will next head to Phoenix to continue their fall season.
So now we say hello to volleyball head coach Jenny Glenn. Coach, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here.
So we saw that senior Santaisha Sturges had reached and passed the 1,000 kill mark in your MSU Denver career. Tell us what that mark means in the volleyball world.
Yeah, it's definitely a milestone in volleyball as a hitter. To reach 1,000 kills in your career means you've played a ton of matches and gotten a ton of kills, right? She's taken a lot of swings for us, but she also hits for a high percentage. So, you know, it's not a surprise to me that she's reached that milestone, and we expect it to be 1,000 and counting.
Well, we'll have Santaisha with us later on in the show. This is your 3rd year working with her. How has her progression in the sport of volleyball grown working with her on a daily basis and then reaching All-American status last year?
Yeah, it's been really fun to be a part of her growth. You know, I got her 2nd semester of her freshman year, so I don't know what that 1st semester was like, but I think it was a little rocky. So just to see her take to training, and whatever I asked her to do, she does it. She works hard every day in the gym, and that's a testament to the award as well. You know, she definitely puts the work in. You don't get 1,000 kills by hitting the same shot over and over again as a 5'9" outside hitter. She's developed a nasty roll shot. She can hold her arm and tip the ball. She has a line shot. She has a crossbody shot. She's excellent going off hands. So, you know, that is a testament to her work throughout the years. You know, and just to see her growth and confidence as a 6th rotation player has been awesome.
So in volleyball, we see girls making noise and cheering for one another and having fun after kills. But with Santaisha, she's always had that calm and cool demeanor about her. What do you think that's about? Is that just her in the zone?
That's just kind of Santaisha. She has a poker face all the time. We try to get her riled up, and she actually is a pretty goofy personality.
Really?
But she, you know, when she steps on the volleyball court, it's business. And, you know, she really is a composed athlete. We use that word to describe her a lot, which really helps our team just kind of maintain that composure throughout matches.
Okay. So we need to know, what kind of player were you like back in your Truman State days? Were you screaming after every point? Did you stare down opponents after a big block? Tell us about Jenny Glenn back in her playing days.
Yes, I would say I was pretty intense. I would, you know, whatever I did, whether it was demanding to get the next ball or you know, excited for winning a point. So I would call myself an intense player. Yes.
So let's talk about this weekend a little bit. You first hit the road to Gunnison, Colorado to take on Western State, and boy, your team came ready to play as the Mountaineers hit a negative 0-5-1 for the match. What was working so well for you in that regard?
We just really attacked the match, and I think we got them on their heels early and doubting themselves. So, you know, it was a fun match for us. We got a lot of people some time. It was Michaela Kubiak's first time on the floor, and just to get some of those first match nerves out for her was really great. And we just really controlled the match after that, and I like how we handled it, and we stayed composed and stayed energetic for full 3 sets.
Well, you mentioned that you were proud of your team's composure to weather an emotional match environment. Was the crowd out and screaming for the Mountaineers, and how does one keep their composure in such a hostile territory?
Yeah, actually Saturday night proved to be a little bit tougher environment than Friday night was, but it was just a loud gym and a lot of screaming, and it echoed, and you know, you're playing at almost 8,000 feet, so the ball moves a little bit different, and they had a lot of fans there, so it just felt like things were happening fast at the beginning of the match, but we were able to slow that down and take control.
So you mentioned earlier Michaela Kubiak. In that match, we saw her see the court for the first time in her Roadrunner career. How excited was she and the team to see that from a player who has been riddled with injury so far?
I mean, I don't know how you could not be excited for Michaela. Such a great kid. She's a great leader. She's a great player. Has had multiple roadblocks in her career, and so the determination and drive and perseverance in that athlete is just incredible. So I think, you know, it's a victory for all Roadrunner Nation when she stepped on the court that night, and you know, to have us all behind her, and just you couldn't ask for a better kid for that accomplishment to happen to.
The next night, you took on Colorado Mesa. They played you guys tough in Grand Junction. What were they doing well on their side of the court?
You know, I think Mesa was out to get us, quite honestly. They came just guns a-blazing and aggressive, and one of those things where if they're really aggressive, things go their way. And it was very much a hostile match environment, a packed gym, some rowdy fans. Our men's soccer team, shout out to them for coming to the match and supporting us before they played on Sunday. And, you know, it's just an environment where things were happening fast, and they were taking advantage of some weaknesses, and we just couldn't quite turn the corner. And it was a really disappointing match for this group, and we trust that it will be our motivator to kind of have a good turning point post-match.
So one of the highlights we saw from the trip from that Mesa match, and perhaps in both games, was the play of Aveline Lai, the freshman from Boulder. She matched a career high with 7 kills on Saturday. Yeah. Just talk a little bit about how you found her and what kind of potential you see in her as a player.
Yeah, I think she has a ton of potential, you know, and it's just taken a little bit of time to get used to the system and some other pieces, but I think you're going to see a lot more of her in the future, and she's working really hard, very invested. She hits a different type of ball that we think can be really successful, and just kind of finding the blocking pieces and the other parts of the game that have really come a long way. And I just love her intensity and her competitiveness and just grittiness to get the job done.
Your team will be back home this weekend for matches against South Dakota Mines and Black Hill State. Friday's match is a celebration to recognize MSU Denver staff and faculty. Tell us how these folks make a difference for this volleyball program.
Yeah, each of our athletes have invited professors to come. You know, they are a huge piece of our student athletes experience here. And, you know, they support our athletes when we're traveling and have to miss class. And we always encourage our athletes to have great relationships with their professors, invite them to matches, even if it's not professor night. But we just want to honor them and kind of show them let them step into our athletes' world for a second. And I think it's a really good reciprocal relationship, and we just want to thank them for the hard work they put into.
So, Coach, thanks again for coming back on the show. We're excited to have you back at home this weekend.
Yes, we are excited to be back home.
Before we take our first break, let's bring you our tweet of the week. It comes from a couple of different tweets. The first coming from volleyball star Taylor Duryea, who tweeted at the men's soccer game and thanking them for coming out and supporting the volleyball team's match against Colorado Mesa on Saturday night. Then the MSU Denver Athletics account replied back saying, "Roadrunners always have each other's back. This is what makes an athletic department great, to have support for one another and not get caught up in your own world." Time for a break. We'll talk with Tracy Chao, the women's soccer head coach, up next on the Coach's Corner.
not shy. Everything's gonna be just fine. Little darling, you keep on walking, 'cause I ain't never gonna leave your side.
As kids fall in love with sports, our universities are working every day to keep college sports safe, so you can watch them play with a little less worry and a little more joy.
Distracted driving kills.
What is distracted driving?
Distraction is any time you take your eyes off the road,
Your hands off the wheel.
or your mind off driving safely.
Sending or reading a text
Takes your mind off the road for 5 seconds.
At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving the entire length of a football field.
Blindfolded.
It's extremely dangerous.
In 2014,
Over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes.
pledge to stop distracted driving.
pledge to stop distracted driving.
Pledge to stop distracted driving.
Welcome back, and before we talk women's soccer with head coach Tracy Chao, let's talk about a fun event being sponsored by both the Tivoli Tap House and the Alumni Association. The two sides will be co-hosting the Alumni Social that will take place on Friday, September 28th. It is in conjunction with Meyer Skies, and there will be free drinks, free food, free MSU Denver gear, and a lot of fun networking. So visit msudenver.edu/alumni for more information. So now we bring on women's head coach Tracy Chao. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me.
So we've all seen that GIF that Eric Lansing put on Twitter that as you gazed into the video camera yesterday as I shot highlights for the game, you joked that you thought you heard the ice cream truck. So the burning question that everyone wants to know, what is Tracy Chao's favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd have to say that mint chocolate chip is probably my go-to, but I'm also a Rocky Road. That's a good one too. So, yeah, that's probably a weakness of mine is ice cream.
You know,
Does that mean you're a Little Man fan? The highly regarded ice cream parlor 10 minutes from campus?
Oh, is this a little plug for Little Man? Are we going to get a little bit of ice cream from Little Man? What are we thinking?
You know, I'm more of a cookies and cream kind of guy myself. I just absolutely love that ice cream. Miriam, what's your favorite flavor?
I'd agree with Connor. Cookies and cream, brownie, anything chocolate.
Hey, you know what? We can do a little cookies and cream with a mint chocolate chip and make it one nice little sundae on top. I think that'd be pretty good too.
Well, I suppose it's time we should talk some football. Your squad had a great weekend of soccer and is off to an amazing start in conference play. In fact, you haven't even given up a single goal in any of those RMAC games. What has been the difference on that side of the pitch?
It's been really good. Our defensive mentality has been awesome. We've just really executed how we want to defend, being patient and smart 1v1 defending. So we are really proud of our defending efforts from our front line to our goalkeeper. So I give hats off to every single player that's been out there and executing our plan defensively. So that's been great.
So speaking of those defenders, we saw a couple of them score some goals in Rising and in Broussard, and we almost saw Emily Romer find the back of the net. Is this part of what you were trying to do in the system, or are the defenders realizing the situation and are trying to make plays?
I was actually just giving Emily Romer a hard time. She's sitting around the corner right now, probably listening in. But she made a great run forward and had an opportunity. And, you know, as we look at the game of soccer, it's a fluid game. So it's not necessarily just because you're a defender, you're going to stay necessarily behind certain lines. We want players to play however the game presents it to them. And so Emily found herself in the 6-yard box, and I believe Reina found a little slotted ball there, and she was standing face-to-face with the goalkeeper. We'll probably have to work a little bit more on her finishing because she's not necessarily used to being in that area. So, but to give it to the goalkeeper. She made a great save, and Emily found herself in a great position. But Taylor had a fantastic goal coming out of the back as well, and a left-footed finish in the back corner. McKenna obviously is a strong target for us on any set piece, so she did a great job in just finishing that first goal as well.
So one freshman that has been making plays is defender Jessica Mooney, who now leads the RMAC in assists with 6. She has 5 in her last 4 games. She also takes the majority of the set pieces for you. Is this what you envisioned when you brought her in this season?
You know, Jessie came in as a great person, and she certainly has an awesome personality and somebody that I knew would come in and compete to play right away. And seeing how impactful she's been able to be on set pieces has been fantastic. She's a natural lefty, and for us on corner kicks, for her to swing them in has been obviously a huge plus for us. You know, Raina's found the other side of that ball a few times, and then now we're looking at like McKenna finish as well. So yes, she's got a great delivery on set pieces, and somebody that has, you know, she sees where she wants to put it and has the ability to place it and with accuracy and pace, which is awesome.
Well, you told us that defender Taylor Rising, who is also a freshman, was perhaps the player of the match. She scored an incredible goal on Sunday. What did she do so well to make life so hard for Western State?
Taylor's come, you know, as another freshman that's certainly finding her way onto the field, and she's got a great presence. She's strong. She's great in the air. She moves really well, and she finds areas of the field to help us attack. She's a hard defender to beat, but what I love about our defenders is that they have the knack to get forward, and she certainly gives us another element of our attack as well.
So Eric, yesterday asked you about how this team is having fun and how they have their little quirks that brings just so much personality to the squad. Can you divulge in some of those quirks to us, and who has the weirdest or funniest quirk on the team?
Oh, geez. That's hard to say. They're all kind of weird in fun ways. You know, just all the different personalities, you know, from even our returners, you know, everybody's just got a little bit of their own humor and how they get themselves going and how they get their teammates going. So, you know, I'd say Jamie Sawaget is probably one that has like this just fun going personality that she connects with everybody, whether you're a freshman or a senior. And I think they give Kayla Shepard a pretty hard time in the locker room dancing. So that's some of the things you hear from the outside. So yeah, they're all just fun, and they all just really enjoy each other, and I think that's where all their personalities, they just feel comfortable being in their own skin, which is amazing.
So, Coach, we're now starting a new segment on the show, and no, it's not an ice cream eating contest, unfortunately, but instead, we're going to be starting our trivia question of the week. Every week, we'll ask a coach a trivia question about their sport, and if they get it right, they earn a point.
Oh.
We'll keep track all season, and the coach at the end who earns the most points, they get a prize. Are you ready for the trivia question?
I suppose so.
So the question is, we saw your striker Raina Banks score an incredible 9 goals so far in this season. Can you tell us which women's soccer player has the most goals scored in an individual season? Is it A, Kylie Hanavan, B, Becca Mays, or C, Adrienne Almaraz?
I'm going to go with Becca Mays.
Is that your final answer? Are you positive with that answer?
Wow. That's my final answer.
That's your final answer. Unfortunately, Coach, you are incorrect.
Oh, shoot. Crap.
The answer was A, Kylie Hanavan.
Oh.
But you will have a chance for a bonus point.
Bonus point. All right,
How
perfect.
many goals did she have in that season?
16.
30 was the correct answer. So, unfortunately, did not walk away with any points this season. Tracy Chao will better luck next time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
So, well, thanks again for taking the time to join us on the show, and thanks for playing the game.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Connor.
Yeah,
thanks,
course.
Miriam. Yeah, thank you, guys.
So time to take a short break, but we're coming right back with volleyball superstar Santaisha Sturges up next on the Coach's Corner.
It's not about where you were born. It's not about your gender or the color of your skin, or whether you're rich, poor, or in the middle. No matter what you play, if you have the skill and drive to succeed in school and in sports, we'll provide the opportunity.
We are student athletes from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
Let's get real about mental health.
1 in 4 of us are currently living with a mental illness.
Let's have an honest conversation about mental health.
1 in 2 of us
We'll have a mental health issue during our lifetime.
Most of those who can get help
Improve their quality of life.
You can help stamp out the stigma
associated with seeking help.
Take the pledge at Stamp Out Stigma.
We're so glad you're back with us here on the Coach's Corner. And before we get to know Santaisha, we want to make sure you're visiting shopmsudenver.com. You need to represent the Roadrunners when you come to games, and there's no better website to grab all your red and blue gear. You can buy t-shirts, polos, hats, shorts, and much more at shopmsudenver.com. So when you come this weekend to see Santaisha and her volleyball team, make sure you are looking good when you're cheering on the Roadrunners. So we now say hello to Santaisha Sturges, senior outside hitter for the volleyball team. Santaisha, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this is actually your second time on the Coach's Corner, but we didn't get to ask you about earning All-American last time. Tell us about what that was like to hear the news and what that meant to you.
Honestly, I was really excited when Coach Jenny called me and let me know that. I was just like ecstatic. So that has been one of my goals from the start of that season, and actually from my freshman year I always said I wanted to be All-American. So.
Well, a couple of weekends ago, your program celebrated 50 years of volleyball here at MSU Denver. How cool is it to be on Team 50 and to see some of the former volleyball players come around and get to hear stories from them?
It's honestly like amazing to hear stories from the past. I think this program has grown so much, and it's just like exciting to hear about what they've done in the past and what we're continuing to do.
So what were the conversations like between you and Coach Glenn coming into the season? Were they about how you could get better this season, or was it about being a leader out there on the court? What were her goals for you coming into this year?
I think a little bit of both. Being a leader was definitely a conversation we have a lot and are still having, but also like continuing to get better every day through the end of the season so I can have the best senior year.
So how do you feel being a leader on this team has been so far this year?
It can always go better, but I think it's been good. It's fun to work with the other leaders and work with Coach Jenny and just try to make our team the best it can be.
So were her goals the same goals that you had for yourself? And if not, what are some things that you want to achieve this year?
Yeah, I think our goals were very similar. For me, she wanted me to come in and work every day until the last day and keep getting better. And I think that was one of my main goals too, was to keep getting better every single day through the end of the season.
So, and speaking of achievements, you recently reached the 1,000 kill plateau in your collegiate career. When did you hear about the mark, and what do you think about as you look back upon your time here at MSU Denver?
I heard about it a couple days after. Honestly, I didn't even know that night, but yeah, it's like a good experience to be able to have that and to work through that from my freshman year till now. So keep grinding.
Well, is putting a kill down on an opponent the most fun thing you can do out there? And how much of a thrill do you get pounding one into the defense?
Yeah, it's honestly pretty fun, but I think one of the funnest things with this, or playing volleyball here, is the team. And being able to play with those girls is honestly like more of a thrill than getting a kill.
So last time we had you on the show, you told us you wanted to run your own business by being a business management major, but you weren't sure what you wanted to do with it. Have there been any revelations since the last time we chatted in terms of what you want to do after school?
Running my own business is definitely still up there. I'm still not sure. Maybe something dealing with sports. I'm not exactly sure, but I'll figure it out.
Your mom, Jennifer, comes to pretty much every game at home, and she is quite the vocal one out there from the stands. Do you hear her on the court, and is she throwing out advice to you? Is she letting the officials have it out there?
Honestly, when I'm playing, like I hear her sometimes, but I've kind of tuned her out, and she knows that. So, I mean, I'm not really listening. Okay. Most of the time, I don't even hear the crowd when I'm playing, so.
So, Santaisha, we appreciate you coming on the show, and once again, congratulations on reaching 1,000 kills for your career.
Thank you.
Before we get out of here, let's talk about what's coming up this week in Roadrunner sports. Santaisha and her volleyball team will be back at home at the Auraria Event Center this weekend. They'll host South Dakota Mines on Friday at 7 and Black Hills State on Saturday at 5. Come on down and cheer for the volleyball squad, but if you can't, you can always watch Santaisha add to her kills total on Roadrunners TV both nights. Our golf team is currently competing in the Western New Mexico Intercollegiate in Goodyear, Arizona. They'll finish up tomorrow, and you can visit roadrunnersathletics.com to keep up with Coach Ferguson and her squad.
Coach Chao and her soccer team will hit the road for 4 straight games. This weekend, they first head to St. George, Utah to take on Dixie State on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Then they'll venture to Salt Lake City to battle Westminster College on Sunday at 2:30. The men's team will continue their road trip and will take on always tough Colorado Mines in Golden. That match will take place Friday at 7:30 p.m. Then they'll head out of Colorado and head to Rapid City, South Dakota to face off against the Hard Rockers on Sunday.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's show. We want to thank Miriam for coming on the show and filling in. I hope you had a good time and hope you can make more appearances with us in the future.
It was an honor, Connor. I was very thrilled and excited to be here. I'd be very happy to come back.
All right. So for Coach Glenn, Coach Chao, and Santaisha Sturges, I'm Connor Dockery. We'll see you next time on the Coach's Corner. Same bat time, same bat channel.
against the Hard Rockers on Sunday.
Well, that is going to do it for this week's show. We want to thank Miriam for coming on the show and filling in. I hope you had a good time and hope you can make more appearances with us in the future.
It was an honor, Connor. I was very thrilled and excited to be here. I'd be very happy to come back.
All right. So for Coach Glenn, Coach Chao, and Santaisha Sturges, I'm Connor Dockery. We'll see you next time on the Coach's Corner. Same bat time, same bat channel.